So while we're setting things up, I'm going to ask, how many people here were on the internet back in 1998?
Some of these people might not even have been born in 1998.
Yeah.
God, that's
That never gets old!
a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, damn kids.
We'll have to, because if we rewind back in time, the
To another
year is
world.
1998. The Sonic internet community is still relatively young. David Gonterman still exists.
It's, dare I say, boomer.
David Gonterman.
Whoa. Whoa.
Hey, guy. While we're waiting, what's to hear about David Gonterman?
Yes.
Oh, God.
We will, I think, to fill time until we feel like we're ready to go.
Okay. AOL discs all
Jesus
over the place.
Christ. Sorry, keep going.
See, so, right, once upon a time, in the mid-90s, a man named David Gonterman, who was in his mid-20s, logged onto America Online and joined up upon a Sonic the Hedgehog AOL message board. He said, wow, Sonic fans are cool, because back then everyone either wrote or role-played in relating to the Saturday morning Sonic the Hedgehog series, you know, with Princess Sally and the rest of those fucks. Anyway, are we allowed to swear? Anyway, so David Gonterman went, I'm going to write some fan fiction about my favorite things. So he started his grand trifecta with the Piazza Bird, which involved David Gonterman meeting Jason, Zach, and Trini from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Because what?
They had already... Right, this was after season 2 when they had been fired from the show, and they were part of this peace thing, and they were in St. Louis, Missouri, home of David Kintobor. And they meet him and say, wow, you seem like a really cool guy. And he's like, yeah, I am a really cool guy. I can draw and write, and I have a mullet. And they're like, I love that. So while they're hanging out, Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa...
Oh.
What?
What's up?
Those are all redeeming qualities. He can draw, he can write, he had a mullet. It all works.
It worked in the mid-90s. What else did you need? Anyway, so... Yeah. So he... Right, so he's hanging out with the 3 former Power Rangers. Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa are like, whoa, we should do something. So they unleash a mythological Native American creature called the Piazza Bird that immediately strikes fear in the heart of St. Louis. The former Power Rangers do the only thing they can do, which is contact Zordon, and then the other Power Rangers who still have Zords and stuff show up and they fight, but they can't do anything. But David Gonterman, David Kintobor Gonterman, armed with his trusty double-barreled, sawed-off shotgun, is able to defeat the Piazza Bird with a single shot. He wins. Everyone cheers. The mayor of St. Louis gives him the key to the city. Just then a 40-year-old black woman shoots his arm off.
What? Oh, God, this again.
Please help. Please help.
This is very much canon. You probably have heard this if you've listened to everything that Retro's ever done. It's good. It's fine.
It's amazing.
Right, because we're just going. Right. See, she blamed David Kintobor Gonterman for slavery and racism because he was white, I guess. So he enters
Good
the.
God.
Yeah, this is still relevant today, right? Anyway, look. So.
Oh, shit.
So,
that happened.
Right, so he enters a coma. Next thing, he wakes up and looks at his arm, which didn't exist, and it's now a robot arm. And he's like, whoa, how'd that happen? Well, you see, King Acorn from the Saturday morning series took David Gonterman's comaed body and roboticized his arm. And he's like, hey, have you ever heard of Sonic the Hedgehog? And he said, yes, sir, I've played all the games and watched all the episodes. And he said, good, because I need you to go see my daughter, Princess Sally, and give her this list of freedom fighters. But if you jump through that portal, you might not be able to come back home. And he's like, well, what do I have left here? My arm got shot off by a black woman. So he...
Wait, what?
This is a good story. No bad comments, please. Anyway, so he jumps through the portal and lands right in the middle of an intense battle between Sonic the Hedgehog, Princess Sally, and Dr. Robotnik. He's like, whoa! And Tobor Gonterman pulls out his trusty double-barreled shotgun and shoots the SWAT bots and saves Sonic and Sally. But they're like, whoa, you're an overlander because racism, I guess. And he's like, but your father sent me. And he pulls out King Acorn's signet ring. And she's like, whoa, I guess he did. So they go back to Knothole. Everyone hates him because he's a human being. Racism. But Princess Sally takes him into the secret hut and performs the secret freedom fighter ritual. Whatever that is. It's probably sex. Anyway.
Wait, the
Makes
story
sense.
didn't cover what happened during this ritual?
No, because, see, back in the 90s, when everyone would write fan fiction in which their original character inevitably showed up in Knothole, they would have this secret, they would do this secret thing, but they never explained what it was. So every fan fiction writer basically passed the buck to the next one, and they never got around to it. It's fine. So... Oh man, Andrew Estic says, "Hey." Okay, so yeah, racism and everyone hates him, but for some strange reason, he inexplicably transforms into a fox, and because now he's a fox,
Okay.
everyone likes him. So Davykins, Foxfire, Tobor Gonterman continues the fight against Robotnik. But because this is Blood and Metal, which is a 19-part story, he meets a girl.
Christ.
What's the girl's name? I don't remember, and I probably shouldn't repeat it because in real life she was like 15 and he was like 28 or something.
What?
And they started. Right, this is where it gets a little weird, creepy, because he like starts e-dating her, and then her dad messages him.
So is this a story
you?
you have to absolutely tell?
Well, it kind of because like. She's
Does it-
It's no use!
It's fine because they were just internet cuddling. Everything's fine. They break up eventually. Who cares? Look, anyway.
1998 sure was a different time, wasn't it?
It sure was. So, no, it gets weird and creepy later. Anyway, Skulljack17.
Later.
What happened? Yeah.
What?
So they're engaging in battle, and then Dr. Robotnik says, "Wait a minute, Davykins, Gonterman, Tobor Gonterman, I have something to tell you." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm actually your father." And everyone goes, "What?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, Tobor is Robotnik backwards." Shit. So everyone starts not trusting him again because he's the son of their greatest enemy, even though now he's a fox, which is a little weird. So Gonterman is kind of like, oh man, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to fight against my father or join up with him? I have conflict in my life. What happens to that conflict? We don't know because he doesn't get around to finishing Blood and Metal, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, I guess what happens is that in the second part of the Orange Ranger trilogy, Piazza Bird was part 1 of the Orange Ranger trilogy.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, we find out that, hey, the Davykins Tobor eventually defeats Robotnik, and Sonic, I guess, might have helped, and he marries the girl, and they have kids, and he lives for 74 blissful years as a weird fox. And then he dies, and he's dead.
Oh.
But it's fine because he wakes up back on Earth 74 years later.
Oh, it's like Avatar.
He got better.
It's like Avatar.
And he's once again in his late 20s because that's a thing. So he's walking around St. Louis and he's like, "What happened here?" And he realizes that he's been dropped into a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
He's dead.
Right. He's alive. He's dead until he dies from it. So he comes across the skeletal remains of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Check.
Right. I can rush through it. So he comes across the skeletal remains of the Power Rangers, and he's like, "What happened here?" And an old guy walks up to him and says, "Well, there was this guy named David Tobor, and he disappeared, and when he disappeared, a race war ruffian.
Christ.
And because of that race, like the Power Rangers tried to stop it, but they were killed in battle, and now
Aw.
everyone's dead in St. Louis.
What in the
Yeah,
hell?
and so he asks, "Well, who are you, old guy?" And he's like, "Well, I'm the doctor. You know, that doctor from Doctor
Oh
Who."
God.
Oh God.
And he's like, and he says, "Davykins, you have a chance to go back in time and fix it with my TARDIS." And he says, "Why don't you come back with me?" And he says, "I can't because this is my last transformation and I'm about to die."
Retards.
So David Gonterman, Foxfire, and Tobor Gonterman, and the last incarnation of the Doctor sit upon a cliff
Yeah.
overlooking post-apocalyptic St. Louis, watching the sunset, share a Diet Coke, and then the Doctor disintegrates. So God, right?
It's
So
so
God,
funny.
So Gonterman goes to the TARDIS, which is now convertible for some reason, and he says, "Oh no, it's running through Mac software. I better rip it all out and replace it with IBM components." So he puts the IBM components in the TARDIS. He goes back in time. The time circuits die. He rushes into the hospital and sees King Acorn kidnap his comatose body. King Acorn winks at Gonterman.
I can see that. It's about Ender's level.
And then Gonterman jumps into the bed, and so Zach, the original Black Ranger, runs into the room and is like, "Whoa, Davey, what happened? I thought you were in a coma. Why do you have a robot arm?" And he's like, "It's a long story." So then we jump into the third cycle of fanfiction, which I'll get to the name in a second, because it starts with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Zach, Trini, and Jason, the VR Troopers, and the Masked Rider descending upon St. Louis as the race riot is about to erupt. And
All right,
leading the
guys, we'll see you in 6 years.
leading the charge is Davykins, Tobor Gonterman, and they're able to stop the roar from happening. Zordon rewards him with the orange power coin, so he can become the orange Power Ranger whenever he wants. And he also has a robot arm, and he can also become a fox whenever he wants, and he remembers his entire life on Mobius. It's fine. Don't worry about it, because this is when it gets slightly weird, because he's
up to
walking
this point,
along...
it's been fine.
Yeah.
Right. So he's walking along the outskirts of St. Louis, when suddenly Sailor Moon falls from the sky and lands in his arms, begetting
good.
Sailor Moon, American Kitsune. Now, of course, Sailor Moon immediately falls in love with the 20-something mulleted man, because who wouldn't fall for that hunk-a-hunk? And she's like,
He's also
"Oh, Davey."
undead still.
Right, so Davey, you're so dreamy, and he's like, "Yeah, I am dreamy." And then all the other Sailor Scouts fall for him, and he begins fighting the evil queen. What is it, Beatrix Potter? I don't remember.
Beryl.
Beryl, yeah, that's it. The evil
Beatrix
Queen
Potter.
Beryl.
It's just a giant barrel.
Right. So Queen Beryl. Now, right. So Davykins and Sailor Moon fall in love and turn into cats and have sex while they're cats. Only while they're cats. Because I don't know why, but it's fine because they become human again. And he kind of explains the fact that he's homophobic because when he was a kid, people called him gay and he didn't like it. So all the Sailor Scouts are like, "Whoa, yeah, gay people are terrible because you were called gay as a child," ignoring the fact that half the Sailor Scouts are lesbians. Anyway. Now remember the time Sailor Moon had sex with Gonterman? Now, see,
As a
David
cat.
Davykins, Tobor Gonterman, Foxfire Tobor, finds out
Jeez.
that his mother
Fox fire.
also was pregnant
Shit.
with another child. This child was aborted because it had two strange tumors on the side of its head. However, the fetus.
David.
Yes. Yes.
How
yes.
important is it that you read this?
It's nearly done now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost done. So, yeah, so the fetus survives, crawls away, is saved by parents, and
The abortion
the fetus grows up
didn't take.
The abortion didn't take, and the child grows up to be Sailor Moon. Oops, Gonterman had sex with his half-sister while he was a cat.
Check low.
Oh, Dom, you're coming back. It's good because
Hey.
Sailor Moon American Kitsune was canceled for good reasons.
Check.
Anyway, none of the stories were done. We never got the Orange Ranger Trilogy Part 3, where it's, I guess, the future, and he's married to not Sailor Moon and has kids. And I can hear him say, check quietly.
He's got to turn himself up.
David Gonterman, ladies and gentlemen.